What's up, you guys? It's Pal here, coming at you guys with a showcase on the archetype known as Odd Eyes. So, in a showcase, I basically show you guys some duel videos, just kind of showing you guys, showcasing how the deck actually functions in a duel. And then I'm going to give you guys a small deck list here that I'm actually currently working with, and some options for the future. And if you guys want to see something more in-depth, talking about every single aspect, just let me know in the comment section below. And so without further ado, let's get into the showcase. So this whole deck is basically based around Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. He's like the centerpiece of the deck. He helps you get into your Odd Eyes fusions and your synchros and exceeds a lot easier because he's a level 7 monster. He's very, very good. And then we also have the Performer Pals, because we just got Performer Pal Odd Eyes cards, so they basically bridge the gap between the Performer Pals and the Odd Eyes archetype itself. And along with that, we also run the Magicians, because the Magicians have very good effects in the scales, and Oaf Dragon is like one of the key monsters. He's a level 6, so he does a lot for you, actually. He's actually very, very good. And so that's basically most of the deck here. Pendulum Call is still really good. I notice a lot of times I'm actually searching for monsters to actually summon, as opposed to just searching for scales. So that's one interesting thing about the deck that I really, really like. And then I still think that the Dragon Pits are good at 3, because you need extra 7s to be able to summon, and he's basically there to help you make your eyes absolute dragon. Also, Sky Iris is also very good now, because it allows you to search out your level 8 scale, or sorry, not level, but just your 8 scale monster, which is your unicorn. So basically, you don't have to rely on just your magicians to be able to summon out all your big monsters. Now you can actually have another way to get to that using your Sky Iris, which also protects all of your monsters in the scale. And so before we actually get into the duel videos, I just want to talk about Dragon's Bind here. It's actually pretty good with Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. It's basically a Vanity's Emptiness. And Gospel Revival is a Blue Eyes card, but it has a lot of synergy because you can reborn a level 7 or 8 dragon, and it protects all your dragons in the field. And Ignister is actually a level 8 dragon type monster. So, and then Odd Eyes, Vortex, and the Synchro Meteor Burst, they're all 7s, and Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon himself is a 7. So since you can make rank 6s really easily, you can actually incorporate Beatrice into the deck, and then also use Gospel Revival to not only send targets for Gospel, but to send the Gospel itself to protect your boards. So if you guys are interested, I can actually make that as a deck and showcase it to you guys. And also, one last thing to mention, most of these Odd Eyes cards here that you see at the bottom, they're not very good. Odd Eyes Gravity is pretty good, but the Ritual spell is kind of cloggy, so I choose not to run it. It's not very good, but you can make a build dedicated to it with like Manjus and stuff. And then there's also this Odd Eyes Persona Dragon and Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon, and these cards are very, very new. I think they're in the OCG, or they might not have just come out yet. I'm not sure when they came out, but they're very, very new, and I haven't had time to test it. This deck is pre the update for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro app, so this is the deck I was currently working with, and it's very, very good. I'm not even sure if the new Odd Eyes Dragons will be introduced into the deck, although the level 1 scale is actually pretty good. So yeah, that's basically it for the deck showcase of the actual deck itself, the profile, but let's get straight into the duels. So this first duel here is very fast. It's just an example of how easy this deck can OTK. We're not playing against the best deck ever, but we're playing a very fast deck ourselves. So I just want to show you guys how easy it is to actually OTK with this deck. So we're going to get rid of our Ignite Reload and pop his Skill Drain and his Solemn Strike. And basically, we're just going to go for all the combo pieces. So here, Janki puts in a lot of damage. It's 2,500. And Odd Eyes Unicorn is going to basically go for game. So what its effect is when an Odd Eyes monster declares an attack, like right now, it's going to gain the attack of a Perform Pound monster you control, making Odd Eyes a 43 with Joker. So that means you can easily beat over a lot of huge problem monsters in game, but also allow you to get a lot of OTKs, and there's a lot of OTK combinations with this deck and use of extra deck. So that's just one instance of how easy it is to OTK, but as you see, don't even need to use the extra deck to OTK with this deck, so it's very good. So on to the next duel. Okay, so in this duel, we're going to be playing against Demise Clifford, and this is a very good example of how defensive the deck can be. So he's going to open very, very strong here. He's going to search out his Recreate, and he actually has a lose one turn and a Chalice, so and he has a Sacrifice. So this guy is just open so good. So here, I know that I need to make a fusion, so I'm going to try to get my Oaf Dragon here real quickly. So I'm just going to bait out his Recreate, because it only really works good if it's already face down. So here, we're going to summon our Oaf Dragon. Well, actually, first, we're going to pop the Scout, because that's really important. We're going to use Oaf Dragon to get back our Unicorn so we can make a fusion. And it's fine that we're making a defense. And here I make a misplay. I actually attacked his monster, thinking that I would actually be able to get my Oaf Dragon to float, but I forgot that Recreate banishes. But sadly, he actually has a Chalice, which is really bad for me. That's going to be able to allow him to get his stuff 31 and just keep beating over my Vortex Dragon. So either way, there was nothing I can really do about that. because Vortex was negated for the turn. So here I actually drew a monster, and luckily I'm going to pop his directly and just summon 2 monsters in defense, because this is a pendulum deck and it's very defensive in nature, or in the pendulum nature, because you can just keep putting out monsters in defense, so that's always good. And here I'm just top decking my way back into the game. We top deck Oath Dragon, which is probably one of the best cards because it allows us to get our resources back and still get rid of our or our opponents lose on turn. And so here I just decided to put on monsters on board to try to just absorb as much damage as possible. I didn't want to just set the Wisdom, because if I set the Wisdom and he had a way to destroy it, it wouldn't actually go to the extra deck. So I wanted to at least be able to go to the extra deck. And here we top deck Luster Pendulum, which is really good. And a slight misplay, I should have actually spun his Monolith, but in the end it didn't really matter because I had all the resources to get rid of all his cards anyway. The only difference would be I would actually have a Pendulum monster in my hand. I'd still have the Dragon Pit just in case. So that was actually the only misplay there, but it's still pretty good. We have a very high control. So now what we're going to do is we're going to search for Kieran in our end phase, because Kieran's basically going to signify game for us. It'll just get us game. And he top decks Carved Demise, which is really good for him. He gets a Stormforth and he gets a Summoner's Art. So he's going to tribute our Ignister and beat over our Magister and just leave us with the Oath Dragon, which is actually good. Here, he searched out Rivalry, and I didn't want to hit the Rivalry. I wanted to pop the other back row because I wasn't really afraid of Rivalry at all. But unfortunately, I hit the Rivalry. So what I did to try to play it safe was just to summon the Kieran with a normal summon, bounce his monster, and then pendulum summon the sorcerer and attack for game. If he had it out, I would at least still have my resources. So even though I made a couple misplays there, still ended up coming back from a very bad situation, because this deck is very, very good, and you guys should never sleep on this deck. And so let's get on to the next duel. So here in this video, there's actually a good example of how much control the deck has, especially with stuff like Kieran. So basically, we're going to shuffle back our hand to get our hand live again. That's why we run the Ignite Reload, because if we do have a brick. So we actually have a pretty decent hand. We have the Scolding and the Kieran, but he has MST, he drew it. So unfortunately, our Scolding is pretty much dead, but that's fine. Basically here, we're going to wreck him. So we're going to bounce his monster back to hand. He's going to have to discard it for the Void. And then on next turn, and here we top deck the Twin Twisters. So destroy the other back row, because now we can just keep beating him down with Kieran. And on his next turn, his Pendulum skill is going to blow itself up because he doesn't have any monster to tribute. And he's going to be in a very bad spot. So here, he's going to just summon his monster and try to defend his life, because if I destroy it, then his spell will trigger him. He'll be able to get a search and start setting up for scales. So I'm just going to keep bouncing his monster, controlling the board here with Kieran. So he gets 2, and right here he's going to try to crash. And in main phase 1, I just return the monster, because that way he'd get 2 searches and be able to pendulum both his monsters back, and that'd be really, really bad for me. So right here I actually drew Pendulum Dragon, and we're just gonna go for game. And that's how good control is with this deck with Kieran. So you know, the deck has a lot of control, has a lot of aggression, and it has a lot of its actual defense, and it's a very strong deck. So I highly recommend you guys actually try this deck out. So that would be basically the showcase. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you guys like the video, please give it a like. Helps the channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and take care.